Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have something very, very special for you. It is Matt Evers and Frankie Seaman from the Icebreakers podcast, and this is our bonus episode. Frankie, take it away.
Today, we have the absolutely divine ice dancers, Lilah and Lewis Gibson, 7-time British champions, current British champions in fact, 3-time European medalists and purveyors of amazing, incredible, brilliant, delicious ice dance routines. Welcome!
Thank you. Thanks for having us. And we're so excited to be here. I'm very grateful.
So I saw you guys 2 years ago on Dancing on Ice when I skated. That was my last season with Patsy Palmer. And then you guys skated this past week on Dancing on Ice as well. How was that to be back in the studio?
Oh my God. Like, it was special the first time, but I think because of COVID, we didn't really understand fully, like, the sort of the community that's there and the love between everyone, because we were welcomed so much this time. Not that we were not welcomed the first time, but this time just felt like a really beautiful experience, so much more enjoyable. We got to do a little bit more as well, just working with some of the celebrities and chatting with Holly and Steven. Just, yeah, I really loved the whole experience this time around.
Amazing. Now, you, Lewis, you have to take us back because Steven did mention, or Holly, somebody mentioned on the show this past week, that you started skating because of Dancing on Ice.
Yeah, the first season, and Frankie's husband
I
was
knew!
one of the
I
big
knew you were going to
parts.
say that because you used to play football, didn't you?
Yeah, and so for me, like, so I was sitting there watching the first season, kind of like, what is this, basically? And of course, David, footballer, and I was playing football at the time, and I was like, God, he looks like he's having so much fun, but also so challenged by it. And I was not getting that at all in football. I was just coasting, part of the group. And so I went along. We had a very local ice rink, and I even think there's another story there, Frankie, too, at Air Ice Rink. No? Did you ever skate at Air Ice Rink?
We did, didn't we do pros on ice at Ice Rink? We did, didn't we?
We did,
No.
yeah.
Do you mean, did I
Gosh, what would it
compete
be?
there?
No, like when you were younger. I
I
thought I
think
was told this. Maybe this is
I think
lies.
I might have. I might have competed there actually. I can't remember because it was so long ago.
But yeah, it was after that first season. So I went along and I just fell in love with the sport and continued to just grow my love for it through the challenge, through like all these little things that you have to learn as you go along. So
That's
it was pretty cool.
interesting. It's interesting that you say that, Lewis, because my husband David, that you've already mentioned, obviously an incredible footballer, but he is through and through, without a doubt, a team player. Okay, he's a goalkeeper, so that is an individual role, very, very different to being an outfield player. But he's through and through a team player. And obviously, as an ice skater, even though I'm a pair skater, I started off like you as a single skater, and I am through and through an individual. I don't do teams, and so I find that the mentality, especially when you apply it to sport, is very different. And you're saying you were coasting, you were part of the team. I think it's probably clear that you're actually more of well, obviously you've excelled as an individualist in your sports, and obviously the pair of you together is incredible. And I see a pair team or a dance team as an individual entity. You know,
Yeah.
you're two people, but you're working as one.
Like
And
a
I think that's
unit.
probably why you found your groove.
I think so. And I completely agree with what you said because, you know, everything that we do is together on the ice, like the highs, the lows, the wins and whatnot. And so it really does feel individual, except you get this extra little bonus of sharing it with someone and getting to
Yeah.
chat things through and all of the extra little things.
Yeah, for sure. And Lilah, can you tell everybody at home, because obviously you guys are still in the prime of your competitive career, and you guys train on what we call as skaters full-size ice or Olympic ice. And it's such a difference between what we have in the Dancing on Ice studio. How did you guys adapt? When you saw it for the first time, did you freak out? Because it's like a quarter of the size.
Yeah. So this time around, it was an upside surprise. So when we did it, I think it was 3 years ago, right after the Beijing Olympics, we had a few days to prepare at Ali Pali in London. And so we coned off the ice and we just divided it up based off of the dimensions that we were told, kind of eyeballing it. And then we got to the studio ice, and it's an interesting shape because you have the tunnel coming out, and then it's this curve, but then you add a cameraman on skates circling around, which means a little bit less ice. And just the shape of it with the judging panel, it was smaller than we imagined. So we got there and we're like, okay, so no pushing. We're just gonna kind of walk around the ice, and we had to change the angles a lot. And then this time around, we knew that that was what was going to happen. So we coned off the ice. We were at Lee Valley this time, and we made it smaller than it was. So we got there and we're like, we can push. So it was an upside surprise, and
Nice.
it felt very spacious. And yeah, it's just funny because we're used to training on NHL size, which is small compared to the Olympic size that we can compete on. And then this is just the tiniest fraction of that. So it's always an adjustment, but a fun challenge.
And you made it look fabulous, as always.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you guys are based at the Ice Academy of Montreal, and obviously you have your fantastic coaches. We should name check them, obviously, because it's Roman, Marie France, Patrice. I mean, I really want to get into your choreography because I think ice dance has evolved so much, and you guys have consecutively medaled at the last three Europeans, and you're the first GB couple to do that since Jen and Chris did it. So, I mean, there's a big shoes to fill, and the entire nation is now waiting with bated breath. We're all watching you or following your careers. It's so exciting to be in England right now as an ice skater or as an ice skating fan. And of course, next year we have Europeans in Sheffield, which is my hometown. So I'm super excited for that to happen. You've got World coming up in March, which is so exciting. And then, of course, we're on the trajectory to the Olympics. So I know you guys have got a busy couple of years coming up.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you, like, what are your goals for the next few months and obviously the next few years?
We always aim very, very high just because we're lucky enough to be in this sport, to be living this life. So why not go for the best possible outcome and give our all in the process of doing so? So for us, we want an Olympic medal, of course. We want to be on the world podium too. We want to be European champions. We want to just strive for all that's possible for us and fulfilling our potential. So on a daily basis, that means setting very clear goals and getting a sense of accomplishment every single day, and having a very high standard for ourselves, because ultimately we cannot control the score we get on the day, but we can control everything we do in training every single day and the standard that we set, and then performing to that standard on the world stage in competition and being very satisfied as a result. So there's a balance between what we can control, what we can't, but ultimately giving ourselves the best chance possible in whatever we do.
Well, trust me, we all want those things for you as well, and we are waiting with bated breath. We're following you guys. It's actually very exciting because I think when I watch you guys skate and when I watch your competitive pieces, they're so very different to the other couples that we see on the circuit right now, who are, of course, your fiercest competitors, and of course they're at the top of their game and amazing as well. So, I mean, it must be brilliant to be amongst that perfection all the time. But what really stands out to me is your details. I mean, well, even, going back to a couple of years ago when you did the Annie Lennox routine, the Sweet Dreams, and just that little piece where she's like, hold your head up, and she's banging this out. I mean, she's got this fiercely powerful voice. She's a strong woman. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're in the middle of your step sequence, and Lewis just grabs your hairpiece and appears to yank your hair up. You hold your head up, and I'm like, please, this is delicious. I mean, I just
I'm glad you
love
liked
these
it.
details. Beautiful. The rocky piece, it was so themed. The skipping that you were doing on the ice, I mean, just beautiful. And what we tend to see in ice dance is a very romantic kind of, or sometimes a very abstract feel to ice dance. And you guys are like, nah, we're not doing that. We're bang. I mean, these mashups, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, powerhouse women, come on. What is your
Yeah.
inspiration, Lewis?
I mean, I think first of all, we choose music that we love and we actually want to listen to. Like, that is it. Because I think
Simple.
people look at us and think, oh, I wonder if they have a formula, they do this, they do whatever. Honestly, we choose what we want to skate to because then we know we're going to love it, enjoy it, because you have to do that every single day, and that is tough. Like, I'm sure you guys know from being on Dancing Ice, you would not have gotten given a piece of music that you loved, and it is so much harder. So for us, like, of course, we've sort of geared towards these things that light us up, but along the way, there's so many things like the hair and just other choreographic things that we've come up with where it's almost started a little bit like tongue in cheek or a little bit of a joke of kind of
Yeah.
should we just try this? Like, what's going to happen? And then Roman, who choreographs for us, is always like, what? But then he's like, okay, show me. And we're like, look, it's cool. There's a gag to it, you know? And I
Yeah.
love live performance, whether it's like a major superstar or whether it's a drag queen or whatever, you know, like someone who is giving real live entertainment. And that's what I think we give to the skating world is that energy that if you're here in the moment, it's special. Um, and so, I mean, we're just having fun literally out there with what we're doing.
Just to add to that, I think that we want to make the audience member feel like they're a part of our team and a part of the party. And I think a part of that is just having inside jokes. So that's why we love that tongue in cheek. That's the phrase I was going to use. That cheeky element where they know this is the reference we're going for and we hit it in there. Just like I know Taylor Swift puts Easter eggs in her everything she does. Like we just want to have those little details that make it's like a wink to the audience, that moment of just like warmth and fun and something a little cheeky and spicy too. And I think that if we can add those layers in our performances, it just makes more dimension of enjoyment for the audience too.
Absolutely. And two, you talked about or brought up a really good point. As far as you want to skate to something, and this was always a big thing too when I was competing, you do your program 2, 3 times in a day, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you're in the heart of training, like you're doing it every single day. What people don't realize at home is that when you're in the thick of competition, we're talking months and months and months and months. Whereas people know ice skating in the UK because of Dancing on Ice, where they have their routine for 5 days, right? You guys are training for months and months before you get to your first competition, and then it's a 4 or 5 month competition
Yeah.
sequence. So I think it's so important. Can you sort of talk us through like what the rest of your year looks like? I know we're kind of coming to the end of it, are we not? So
Yeah.
what are your how do you guys train at this point of the year?
Do you want
Yeah.
to take it, Liz? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we generally do about average 8 competitions a season, and we just finished our seventh, so the European Championship, or eighth, whatever it would be, and we have one more, so the World Championships, and it's in about 5 and a bit weeks. So right now we've just come back from that competition, so we're sort of on like a little bit of a down. We'll build it up. So getting to the run throughs, making little changes again. And then we'll take a little bit of a break, couple days, and then we start again to build it up for Worlds. So you never sort of want to sit up here at your like peak performance the entire time. We want to keep building layers, keep pushing harder at certain sections, and for us, really polishing what we had just done at the European Championships and making it a better product, hopefully by Worlds.
I think we should talk about Europeans in Sheffield because obviously it is going to be a huge moment, especially for, well, for any British team, but for you guys especially with the success that you've had and with the momentum that we've seen building throughout your careers. And obviously you're nowhere near the end of your career, so we know that this is where you're just reaching, you know, your peaks. So we're looking at January the 13th to the 18th, 2026 in Sheffield, which is my home rink. And I'm so excited that you guys are going to be there. And we know that you're going to be competing for that gold medal, as you said, that you are always pushing and striving for the best, and absolutely so you should be. This is the first time that we've held Europeans in the UK for 10 years. And that must feel like there's a lot of pressure on you guys. How are you handling that?
I just think it's about time. I'm like, why can't we have it sooner? So I remember I was a flower girl at the last European Championships, and I took the train to Sheffield every weekend to do our rehearsals, and I was just starstruck the whole time, like giving the flowers to all the stars and just thinking, oh, maybe one day that could be me out there. And then the fact that it's come full circle and it's in Sheffield, it's just such a special moment. And we had the experience recently at the Grand Prix. I think it was 2 years ago in Sheffield. And that was our first time having an international competition with a home crowd. And we went into it thinking, oh, is it going to feel like a lot of pressure? What's it going to be like? It was just the most heartwarming experience possible. It was very overwhelming in the best way, very emotional, and just so enthusiastic for all nations. Like, it doesn't matter where the skaters were from. The Sheffield crowd, the British crowd, was so happy and supportive and encouraging. So if you put that in an arena this time, where there's way more hype around it, and it's the Olympic season, you know, we're going for gold. I just, I think the word that comes to mind, it's electric. It's going to be electric there. And I just hope as many people as possible can show up and buy those tickets and that we can put on a good show for them.
Well, tickets are on sale at the moment, actually. I think you can buy tickets for the whole gala at the moment if you head over to the British Ice Skating website, and they're on sale. And actually, I think there's still a few ringside tickets available, and they're on sale till March. And then
Ooh,
after that, they'll be selling the individual day tickets. So I'm sure it's going to be sell out for you guys. There's still a little ways to go, but do
I
get your
hope
tickets
so.
fast, people, because it will be selling
Yeah.
quickly.
And
Yes.
I mentioned this on the main podcast too. Like if you've never seen ice skating live, especially at a world level like Europeans is, you have to experience it because you will never. I mean, it's one thing watching celebrity skate on a Sunday night on TV, but then to see the real athletes go out there and do what they've been training their entire lives to do is just you'll never forget it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Live skating is another dimension. Like when you can hear the blades and you feel and you see the speed, it's nothing like what you see on TV. Like it's so much more magical and kind of like otherworldly in a way as well. Just like, are these humans doing this? But so I agree. Please, please, please come to watch it live.
Now, one last question for me. I know we got to let you guys get going because your schedule is immense at the minute. But whenever we have guests on, I just, especially at your guys' level, I would love to just, in a couple of short sentences, what do you guys do for motivation individually? Like, how do you get up in the morning when it's a cold and rainy day and you're not feeling it because we're all human beings. We all go through these mental swings, right? Like, what do you guys do to really pick yourselves up?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is not forcing it. Because if it's fake, it's not sustainable and it's even more exhausting. So I won't try to wake up and be 110% immediately. I'll allow myself the build. I'll rev up throughout the day and I know, okay, when I hit the ice, I want to be my best self. How do I get there? What are the steps that I take? It could be taking a moment with my coffee and just zoning out. It could be thinking about what goals I want to achieve that day. It could be listening to some music in the car and singing along, harmonizing with Lewis. Whatever it is, there's these little ways that I can boost my mood to get myself to the best state that I want to be on the ice. And I think in terms of motivation when I'm there, it could be for some people it's thinking about I want to win this medal. For me, it's I want to be my best self today. What does that look like? Okay, I need to bring positivity today. I want to be extra courageous today. I want to be extra patient today. And just owning that energy and using skating as the vehicle to become that person. And then I know whatever happens, I get off the ice, I'm proud of myself and I can have my head on the pillow at night and be really satisfied and fulfilled with my day.
Beautiful. Eat
Um,
that, Lewis.
yeah, I know, right? Maybe I should have
Lewis
went
is like,
first.
I want to win a gold medal.
Yes.
No, I think like for me, like it's the kind of the snowball effect of motivation a little bit. Like I'm always, everyone has a to-do list. Everyone has things in front of them. They're like, oh God, whether it's the dread of doing that or,
Yeah.
like if you wake up with the enjoyment to go do something fabulous. If you
Yeah.
don't though, like for me, I always try to take the one thing, that easy step first, whether it's the thing I wanted to do the most or it's like, oh no, that's the simple task. Okay, I do that. Okay, I can do the next one. And then this snowball to that kind of bigger thing that was like right in front of me, like I didn't want to touch. All of a sudden you're there and you're sort of just rolling. I think that sort of mentality helps me. And I think at the rink, in competition, whatever, when it's more stressful, for me, it's like, I'm lucky just to do this. Like, first of all, like, this is where I want to be. Like, I want to be here skating. I don't want to be stuck doing something that like doesn't excite me or light me up or whatever. So it's just those little reminders. Okay, I'm actually living the life that I had dreamt of as a kid. So deal with
Enjoy
it,
it.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is what you want. So just don't get in your way, basically.
Yeah.
Don't get in.
I
Yeah,
love
don't
that.
let yourself get in your way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
very nice. Very nice.
But I think that's so obvious when we watch you guys skate, the enjoyment that you bring to the ice. You guys light up the ice in a way that we haven't seen for a very, very long time.
Thank
And I don't
you.
want to compare you to Jane and Chris because I don't think that's fair. Obviously, we know their journey. We know it was iconic and incredible. And look what they've done, what they're still doing for skating, 50 years later
Yeah.
is beyond
Yeah.
belief. But you guys are different. Ice dancing has evolved. And you don't have the same relationship or connection on the ice that they had. Theirs was a very intimate relationship, and it felt like, we were drawn into this passion or romance or story that they were
Very, very
telling.
private
Very
performances.
private, yeah. And it almost felt like, oh, we were kind of spying on them. But with you guys, you just engaged the entire crowd. I mean, well, obviously the song choices that you picked, we've spoken about Lady Gaga and Beyonce. These are bangers. These are the mashups that we need. But the way that you engage a crowd, the way that your faces engage the crowd, I think is really it's truly a gift, and it's truly a talent, and it's not something that you can teach. So long may you reign.
Thank you. That's so kind of you to
Thank
say.
you.
And it's our intention to just welcome as many people and involve as many people as possible, and to like give people that 4 minutes to just escape their life if they need to, or just feel a little bit happier or inspired. That's like what we want to do. So the fact that you feel that, it really means a lot. So thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the Icebreakers podcast. We're going to let you go, probably back to a yoga class or hopefully an evening of relaxation. But
Maybe.
congratulations on everything that you've achieved this year competitively, and good luck. Break a leg, whatever we now say in skating, for Worlds in a couple of weeks. And I will actually see you at Worlds because I'm going to be producing the world feed for the rest of the world, not the U.S. broadcast,
Wow.
but for the rest of the world. So yes, I will see you in Boston.
Oh, can't wait to see you
Yay.
there. And
Yeah.
you two are so great at what you do. Seriously, this was such a delight to be on this show. And yeah, you're just both so engaging and like confident. And it was just a really great energy. So thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much. I second that. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being here. And actually, before we go, we should mention, actually, Lilah, you have your own podcast, don't you? Time for self-promotion. Go.
Yes. Oh my God, cringing. No, I'm kidding. I actually use this platform for mine, but it's when I'm not in the midst of the school semester, I interview people who have excelled in their craft, whatever it is, from Tony Award winning actors to Olympic champions to hotel managers. And my intention is to just show stories that the listener can see themselves in and be inspired by in whatever way possible. Because for me, role models were so powerful in my life. So I want to provide role models to whoever's listening. And it's called The Lilah Joe Show. I could chat to a wall, so it's great that I get to chat to people instead. And it's just this joy of mine and a skill that I want to keep developing. And I love podcasts full stop, like this one, and just being here has been so much fun. So thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And we'll see you guys very soon. Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
For more information about the European Championships in 2026, head over to iceskating.org.uk. All event tickets are on sale now until March 31st, and after that, single day and gala tickets will go on sale later in 2025 once the event schedule has been finalised.